We're back, brothers and sisters. You're listening to the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally, coming to you live on WLIV 1190 AM, streaming to you at www.nationalactionnetwork.net, and in the 10 o'clock hour on the Impact Television Network. Call somebody. Tell them the action is on the air. I'd like you to get on your feet right now for the president and founder of the National Action Network, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
What do we want?
Justice.
What do we want?
Justice.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
When do we want it?
Now.
When do we want it?
Now.
Hug the person next to you, tell them you love it.
Never give up and never give in. Change will come, keep faith down the road. Trouble and trials won't let go away. God on our side, nothing but pride. Nothing but hold on, be strong. So better days is coming and you always know. Yeah, change will come. Change will come. Change will come. Starting with you. Starting with you. Never give up and never give in. Change will come. Keep faith down the lane. Trouble and trials won't let go away. God on our side, nothing but pride. Nothing to hold on, be strong. A better day is coming and you always know. Yeah, change will come. Change will come. Change will come. Your change
National Action Network, change choir, give them a big hand. Give them a big hand. Senator, happy to be with you another Saturday morning for the Saturday Action Rally. For you that are here live in the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street in the village of Harlem. And for you that are listening live on 1190 AM, WLIB AM in New York, and for you watching on Facebook Live, and we'll be on in a few minutes on Impact TV and nationwide. Nationwide. We getting the echo here. We are certainly happy to see all of you here. Give a hand to our presider, Attorney Michael Hardy, our Northeast Regional Director, Minister Kirsten John Ford. Certainly, let me say first and foremost that I want to remind everybody to move your clock up tonight. Back. Move it back. You gain an hour. So don't get up with the old time and I come on Politics Nation 8 o'clock. Don't get up and turn on at 7 and say Reverend Al ain't on TV. Is that you didn't fix your clock. Now that's for the old folk. The young folk use their cell phone to tell the time. It's going to change on its own. You can tell folk age by when they say turn the clock back. Young folks just roll with it. They don't got no clock, no how. I don't even know why y'all buy your girlfriend a watch. Don't nobody use it. So in the office yesterday, Attorney Hardy said I got to turn my clock back. I said that's already done with me. So, you know, in between these generations. Also, let me say that I want to stress the importance, and I'm going to repeat it when we come on Impact Television on Tuesday election. The best way to get ready for the midterm is to practice this year. Some people talk about, well, I don't know what I'm going to do, you know, ain't no big election. First of all, there is a big election in New York. And you need to vote to make sure your vote is there, make sure your registration is straight, to make sure that there's no problem, and to vote on the issues. Now, like I was hearing earlier in the program, for the New York state voters, they have the Proposition 1. Now, some are for it. Attorney Hardy works with some folk that are for it, as y'all might have heard. Sister, head of our political action board member, Dawn Jones, is with those against it. This is a broad organization. So y'all trying to figure out where we at. We got folk on both sides of that. They didn't say it, but that's what they say. I've been listening. Dawn get up, introduce somebody else, say one thing. Say the unions, they vote no. That's Dawn's guess. Then Hardy get up behind him and say, we don't take a position, but if you want to help Eric Gardner, vote yes. So they just had an unofficial debate up here this morning. All I'm telling you is we need to vote. And one of the things about a civil rights movement is that we can have different views, but toward the same goal. That's why when folk tell you, well, I don't know about Nan because I'm on one side or the other, you can be on different political side and all of us agree on equal protection under the law and equal opportunity and police reform. We don't argue about that. Now, some like the mayor, some don't. Some like constitutional amendments, some don't. All that is fair debate. Right now, the Republicans are debating items, but they're still Republican, which is why they are in power. We must be mature enough to disagree and still move forward without being disagreeable. But everybody ought to vote and exercise their vote on Tuesday. I think that's the bottom line of that. Now, I want to say in that regard that many of us do not understand if you do not vote in local elections, that you remove that comes down to you. Because it's like turning on the water with no faucet. It'll go everywhere. You need the faucet to bring it down to your cup. So I want us to be serious about that. Way of announcements, I want to wish Cornerstone Baptist Church in Brooklyn a happy anniversary. It's their 100th anniversary. And it is a great historic church. I'll be speaking at their luncheon this afternoon in Brooklyn. Reverend Dr. Lawrence Aker is the pastor, works with National Action Network, and Reverend Aker has upheld that historic pulpit. When I was a kid, Reverend Dr. Sandy Ray, a conic pastor and mentor to our chairman, Reverend Dr. W. Franklin Richardson. Ray was the pastor. That's the first place I met Dr. King when I was a boy preacher. Dr. King used to come and preach at Cornerstone. And down through the years, that church has continued to be a Dr. Harry Wright after Dr. Ray, and now Dr. Aker. And you know, everybody can't stand in historic shoes.
Oh, that's right.
Some folk, I'm gonna get into that in my mess. Some folk have to create new things because they are not prepared to stand in historic shoes. See, because you might have to wash your feet to put on some shoes. Stinky feet don't fit in clean shoes. So people talk about, no, I ain't in with the traditional thing. I do my own thing. That's right. Because you got to create your own new laws in order to qualify. If you test yourself and set up your own laws, then you're not tested and you don't abide by law. Because you're going to leave out whatever goes against you. You're like, you're going to redo the Bible and leave out, thou shalt not lie, and thou shalt not steal, because you know you're a thief and a liar. And somebody said, well, you only got 8 of the commandments. Well, I ain't into tradition. No, you can't abide by the law. People want to redo their Bible. The new translation. No, that's you trying to cover up your weakness. So anytime you talk about black empowerment and our community, and you can't celebrate a black institution financed and controlled by black people for 100 years like Cornerstone Baptist Church, something is wrong with your commitment to black institutions. You know, white folks start Cornerstone. So all that black talking, I don't deal with the black church. If you don't deal with the black church, you're not dealing with the black community. Because the first self-controlled institution in our community was our church. Start there. And a lot of us really don't want to deal with that. One of the reasons that I respect some of our young people that have become leaders here in the network. Let's welcome our family watching all over the country on Impact Television. One of the reasons I respect a lot of the younger sisters and brothers that are coming forth in NAN is that they openly embrace the continuation of a church-based movement. And there are those that will say, how are you involved in a movement for community and a black empowerment movement and the black church? Because the first institution that black folk ran and controlled in this country was the black church. I grew up in the black church where we were in charge of everything. So I grew up with a consciousness that we could run business and we could do things. Because I grew up watching folk that looked like me running. So don't down the black. Anytime you so militant, you down the black church, you're telling me you don't respect the institutions in your own community. And you've been sponsored to undermine the very bedrock and foundation of our community. So I want to celebrate our churches that survive. Let me again remind folks to turn back the clock. You older folk that still got the clock. Tonight, young folk got it. We'll go forward. Watch me 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Politics Nation on MSNBC in the morning. Let me say to folk around the country, I was traveling this week, as I do most weeks, that many people stop me and say, Reverend Al, I did not know until I watched y'all on Impact how y'all are activists but also faith-based, and it helped me to pray with y'all. Another lady stops, I sent in my membership. You that need prayer, you that need folk that really prayer warriors, now don't call yourself a prayer warrior if you ain't never been to war. In between prayer bench warmers and prayer warriors, we have been on the battlefield fighting for justice, so we know how to pray. And if you need a prayer to get through, you call right now 1-877-626-4651, 1-877-626-4651. Numbers running across the screen. If you want to join or help the network, you may not be able to come to rallies. You may not be able to come to marches. But you can give something. You can send $5. You can do $10. You can tell us how you want us to do it. Do it right now. Call 1-877-626-4651. Now, I want to make it real clear to people around the country, particularly in New Jersey and Virginia. There are big governor races there. And there are races all over the country. Big article, New York Times this morning, about this is the first time since 1974 that they may have a white mayor of Atlanta. Now, I'm not against somebody because they're white. I supported de Blasio in New York. I want to know, are they right? Just because you white don't make you right. Just because you black don't mean you right. I've supported whites against blacks because the blacks were not with the right agenda. But you need to go out there and vote now, and send a signal to this nation of what you stand for. Now, let me tell you why that's important. We went this week and had our National Action Network Legislative and Policy Conference. And hundreds of you went, and I appreciate all of you that sacrificed to go. Give yourselves a big hand. Certainly our Washington Bureau, headed by Ebony Rowley, deserves a lot of credit. They did a lot of work. But the whole team and the whole staff. And we had some of the top names in the legislature. Senator Elizabeth Warren, Senator Chuck Schumer came and addressed us, Senator Bernie Sanders, on and on, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. Then from the House side, Nancy Pelosi, the minority leader, came and spoke. Jim Clyburn, about 18 members of the House. And one of the things that we do not understand is they are going to legislate whether you pay attention or not. Now, the reason it was so important that we were there, let me show you how God works. The day we had chosen the date way in advance. We happened to convene the day they were unveiling the GOP tax bill. We started 9 that morning, 10 o'clock on the other side of the same building. Paul Ryan and them were unveiling their tax plan. And the Democrats were with us and could respond at our conference. And the press went out that they were talking to black activists and the National Action Network and said this: Because if you look at the tax bill, follow me now, they're saying, well, it will help the middle class. Is what President Trump promised. Now, somebody say, Reverend, I'm going to wait till you get to your holy part. This is holy. We have to take an offering. Uncle Sam takes his taxes. They don't take a collection at the IRS. They collect you if you don't pay your taxes. So this is as holy as it can get. Now, what they've done is they have proposed to eliminate the estate tax, which is called a death tax, which means that if you got over $11 million or more, they're going to break that down and eventually eliminate it so you can inherit money that's not taxable. That helps billionaires like Trump. Then they want to bring the corporate tax down from 35% to 20%. 15% decrease in corporate tax. That helps the businesses, major corporations. But then they say, what we'll do for the middle class, well, we're going to give y'all a little break here and there. We're going to eliminate where you can't deduct now schools debt no more, student loans. And you're going to have to pay taxes even on states where you live in states like California, New York, New Jersey that has state tax. We ain't give you no relief there. So by the time you get finished and add up whatever cuts they give the middle class, you may get $800 a year. Guy called my radio show and said, well, Reverend, $800 a year ain't nothing. If I'm a millionaire and ain't got to pay a state tax, that get a 15% cut on my corporate tax, I'll tip you $800 to get my millions. That's right. That ain't nothing but a tip. That's right. Then they say, well, people that make under X amount a year, one guy talking about $24,000 a year, well, they don't have to worry about. First of all, if you live in any of these states like we do, you can't make it on $24,000 a year if you got a family of four. You almost need that to pay your rent in Harlem. I'm talking about in Harlem. Hello. Y'all used to talk about I'm gonna move back to the hood. You can't afford the hood no more. You must mean you're gonna sleep in the hood of your car. That's only a hood. So all of that will be legislated. Now, if they pass this tax bill, whether you mad or glad, that becomes the tax structure. That's right. That's why I believe in activism, but I believe in strategic, intelligent activism. Practical progressivism. You can talk all you want. Mad or sad, you're going to have to deal with the tax code. Y'all with me so far? Just like they dealt with the child's health insurance. They said, all right, we'll pass that to continue child's health care, but we're going to subsidize it by cutting back on Medicaid premiums and Medicare premiums. So we're going to cut down this to take care of the children and take it out of the Affordable Care. You got to watch all this. That's why we had the legislative day. A lot of us don't know what to fight for. Well, I'm against the system. Well, you in the system, whether you like it or not. If you eat a hamburger, the system cleared the beef you putting in your militant mouth. The system said the ketchup you put on it is all right. The system cleared the onions that you put on it, and the breath mint you chased the onions with. All of that had to be cleared by the system. Therefore, if we are subject to the system, then we must do what we must do to empower ourselves in the system. Now, a lot of folk get melted because they don't think they can compete. You ever see somebody that know they don't know how to do something, so they give you all the reasons on why they ain't gonna get in it, because they really know they can't win it. I was in till high school, always got I ain't into basketball, because he knew he couldn't shoot. I ain't into that, that ain't a good game, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of y'all have lost the confidence that you need to say we can take over. We can run these systems. We're as smart as anybody else. We are as disciplined as anybody else. We can hang in there like anybody else. But you've got to be willing to pay the price. And you've got to have enough confidence and faith in yourself to do it. That's why one of the important things about being a part of an organization, being part of a body, is it instills in your young people at a young age their confidence that they can do something. One of the things that I like about Huddle that meets here on Monday nights is when I was a kid, I learned I could lead. I used to run the junior church on Friday nights at Washington Temple. So I learned I could lead at that age. I became junior pastor at Washington Temple around 9. So it was easy for me to lead a youth division in breadbasket at 13 because I was leading young people at the home church all along. I had my own junior deacons, junior missionaries, junior whatever. And there are learning chambers. But more than giving you the skills, it gives you the confidence. So no one can tell you what you can't do if you've been doing it all your life. Some folk have taught you to be subjects rather than be in charge. So you don't want to be in the system. Y'all can't win there. We're going to do this. You going to do what? If you get arrested, you're going to court, you're going to face a judge in the system. Why can't we be the judge? Why do we only have to be the defendant? So I want everybody to vote. I really, really think that's important that we vote all over this country on Tuesday. Now, many will say, Reverend, the election that matters is next year, the midterm election. No, every election matters. Your mayor, your city councilman, your county officials matter. Now, it is a sin to me that people would sacrifice to give you a vote, and you can't take an hour to go vote. And then you sit down shaking your head watching the TV about how crazy Trump is, when you not voting elected him.
Come on. That's right.
I'm going to get to that in a minute. The other person that I was glad to see that joined us was Congresswoman Frederica Wilson. Congresswoman Frederica Wilson of Florida was there, and you might remember the President Trump had tweeted against her because she was the one that told how he called this widow whose husband was killed in Nigeria, fighting as a member of the U.S. military, and told her, you know, he knew what he signed up for. And because the congresswoman told it, he tried to denounce the congresswoman. Then his chief of staff, former General John Wilson, comes out and says, well, she had taken credit for an FBI building. And he put the video out and said, no, that's not what she said. And they ran down what she really said. Now, when she would not back down, she started getting death threats and harassing calls. So the ministers in Miami have put together a prayer rally supporting her on next Saturday evening. And I'm going to do the rally here Saturday morning and fly down and be with them at St. Agnes Church here in Miami. I'll be speaking for Congresswoman Wilson's rally next Saturday evening in Miami. And I'm going to stay overnight, and she and the widow of Sergeant Johnson is going to do my show, Politics Nation, live from Miami on Veterans Sunday, next Sunday morning. I might also add that this week we saw that the Chief of Staff of the White House, former General John Kelly, was questioned about the Confederate statue. See, one of the reasons I want people to vote, and I'm really going to be watching this vote in Virginia, is that when they asked Kelly about what the president said, that he hopes that people in Virginia vote for Ed Gillespie, who's the Republican nominee in Virginia, because Gillespie may preserve, this quote from the president now, he may preserve our heritage and statues. Kelly questioned about it, said, well, you got to remember that the Civil War was because honorable men could not compromise. First of all, they were talking about General Robert E. Lee's statue, a Confederate general. How are you sitting in the White House, Chief of Staff to the President of the United States, calling a man who tried to overthrow the United States government honorable? How do you call a man fighting to preserve slavery, the owning of other men and other women, robbing people of their human rights and their civil rights honorable? How do you call a man that was fighting to keep a system that could rape and ravage our women honorable? The Civil War was not a disagreement between honorable men that could not compromise. It was about right and wrong and wickedness and evil against righteousness. It was about slavery. And if Robert E. Lee was honorable fighting for slavery, then throw the Bible out, because Pharaoh was honorable about keeping the Israelites there.
Yes, sir.
Let me come right down your alley. Church folks on Trump's side, how do you stand up holding the Bible, where the first chapters of the Old Testament was about the liberation of slaves in Egypt, and you got a man sitting up in the White House calling fighters for slavery in America honorable men?
That's right. Come on. Jesus, come on. Teach.
Somewhere I read that God told Moses, go tell Pharaoh. He didn't say go up there and compromise.
Yes, sir. Come on, man.
He didn't say go up there and say we're two honorable men, let's compromise. They knew each other. Moses grew up at Pharaoh's house. He said, go tell Pharaoh uncompromisingly, let my people go. Here you come, trying to make honorable men out of despicable slave owners. And then you're going to dishonor a sitting congresswoman and call a Confederate treason general honorable. And those that have access to you are too scared to stand up and speak the truth to you. Now, I know what, let me tell you something. I'm on the elliptical, I do the elliptical stair step to work out in the morning. And I'm watching the elliptical stair step. I said elliptical, it's elliptical. I do it, you know how to say it, you need to do it. You run out of breath walking to the car, but you're gonna know what I work out on. You need to work out, let me mispronounce it and do it right. And I'm on the elliptical stair step this morning, and they come across on one of the news stations how President Trump, I want y'all to get this now. President Trump has released, declassified, more of the JFK assassination papers. In the papers is a dossier on Martin Luther King Jr. And in the dossier, they accuse him of sexual and financial irregularities. Some of y'all saw that. Now, a couple things about that. First of all, John F. Kennedy was killed November 22nd, 1963. Martin Luther King was killed April 4th, 1968. Why was a dossier on Dr. King in the assassination files of President Kennedy? Unless somebody's saying that some of the folk involved in Kennedy was involved with King, why are they even in the same files? Second of all, they talk about how the FBI and others figured in the destruction of the Panthers and the destruction of black groups. They also were involved in the smearing of Martin Luther King. These progressives try to act like they were only after them. They kept dossiers and tried to discredit and smear Martin Luther King. They won't tell you that because they want to prop up something to look militant rather than say they were after anybody that stood up. And if they were doing it then, what makes you think they stopped doing it? That's the tactic. Come at you with finances. I remember when the board of National Action Network said, all right, now, you know, we never gave Rem Al retirement, we never gave him a raise, never did this, so we're going to start building that up every year. First thing they did 2 years ago, oh, they done doubled his salary. Because they smear you to try to make people lose faith and trust in what you say. So what the first thing they did with Dr. King, indict him for income tax evasion. Same thing they did to Adam Clayton Powell. They know we ain't crooks. Ain't no money in fighting for freedom. Well, Rip, y'all get millions of dollars in settlements. First of all, when we get in a case, we don't know if they're going to get anything or not, and we get none of that. Not one victim or one lawyer could ever stand up and say, National Action Network, or I ever got a dime out of this settlement. So don't act like that. If you don't have the sense of commitment to fight without some monetary benefit, then say that about you. Don't say that about me. Eric Garner mother sitting right here. She tell you they got a settlement. I didn't ask for one dime from them or the lawyer, and I helped them. I told them, you ain't got your rent money, come to us. Because we are in the business of helping victims, not getting refunds. But they smear so that they can discredit for power. They don't do it now because they just like it. They want to take power. And you're in the way of their achieving and establishing power. You're in the way. We could run through our agenda, but Sharpton and them gonna raise sand. Well, we got to get them out the way. So tell folk he's a crook. Tell folk he know the mob. Well, if you told the feds about the mob, well, then he's an informant on the mob. Like, that's a scandal. I mean, all kinds of just smear. And that is why all of this foolishness going on. Rev Al, did y'all ever catch up on your taxes? First of all, Nan owed no taxes. I'd had a settlement for years, but I'm glad you brought it up. Did you give me President Trump's tax return? How do you vote for a man that you don't know his taxes and worried about my taxes and you ain't put me in no position? But it's the smear. And they do it to anybody. Now stand up. Let me run it right back into the Bible for some of our saved, sanctified, going to heaven in the morning. They tried every step of the way to smear Jesus. Every time you heal somebody, by what authority? Rabbi, let me ask you, according to the law of Moses, and would question him. When Jesus met the woman at the well, they challenged him. They were more worried about discrediting Jesus than it was about the woman. Because the question they tried to pose was, we caught her in the act of prostitution. And the law of Moses says she should be stoned. They weren't worried about stoning her. They were trying to trip him up. Smear. And that is the game they play on any liberation struggle. That's why. Tell you how that I talk all the time. When I look at who will one day be president of the National Action Network or in leadership, a lot of young folk, well, he could speak, she's good, they good. I also look at, do you have the character and the strength to sustain the smear and the pressure they're going to put on you? Everybody that can make a pretty speech can't take the fire they're going to put up under you. Reverend, did you hear me say, I have a dream? Yeah, but I know some nightmares they're going to give you. Because I've been through that. And if you're not strong enough to take the fire, you ought to keep your behind off the stage. That's why Jesus said, if any man or woman would follow me, he didn't say jump up and down with the sunshine. He said pick up your cross. You're going to bear a cross to get your crown. A lot of y'all want a crown with no cross. They're going to talk about you. They're going to scandalize you. That king been dead almost 50 years and they still smearing him. Did he have sexual affairs? Did they steal the money? Man been gone 49 years and they'll smear you in your grave. But if you can stand all of that, God said, I'll give you the victory. I'm not going to tell them don't test you. But if you stand up, I'll hold you up. Going back into that first part, when we were talking about freeing the slaves, well, I'm talking about y'all's president's chief of staff. Well, one of the things I'm thinking about as I'm dealing with these elections coming, and I heard people calling me on the radio yesterday, well, Donna Brazile said they rigged the election, this, that, and the other. Well, stay focused on we got to beat the forces that are against us. One of the things that I read in the Bible, and we're very parallel to that in these times. After the children of Israel, I referred to that, about how God told Moses, tell Pharaoh, let the children go. After the children of Israel had been geared up toward being free, and God sent 7 plagues on Egypt, they were free, got to the banks of the Red Sea, God hardened Pharaoh's heart. Pharaoh went to try to recapture them. They, facing the Red Sea, almost gave up. God opened up the Red Sea. They marched through on dry land. Pharaoh's army come behind them. God drowned Pharaoh's army. They're in the wilderness. Watch this. The big problem they had is even after they got physically out of slavery, their minds were still in slavery. It don't matter if you are out of Egypt if you still got Egypt on the brain. It don't matter if you walk through dry land into the wilderness if you still have a mentality that is still shackled. And the problem we got is even after within a 50-year period. I looked at that picture this morning. 50 years after the Voting Rights Act, a black president with a black first lady with their 2 black children and mother, grandmother, marched across the bridge in Selma. I was on his left shoulder. Walked across that bridge. We went from not having the right to vote to having a black president. And even after seeing that, some of y'all still don't believe we can win nothing. Pharaoh couldn't recapture them. When Pharaoh tried to recapture the children of Israel, God drowned Pharaoh's army. What recaptured them is they had a slave mentality even after God had delivered them. And your problem is you've already beaten them, but you still have a defeatist mentality. And you turn your pathway to the promised land to a wilderness of your wickedness. Sitting up, taking shots at each other. Sitting up, disrespecting each other. You done went from learning from your elders to cursing your elders. Because you got a slave mentality. You done gone from standing up to just showing off. Because you have a slave mentality. You don't need to continue to struggle. You want to start a whole new thing because you want it to be about you. I watched the tech companies have to testify in Washington this week. And it ain't no accident they call themselves what it is. It's about making you feel like it's all about you. What was the thing in the wilderness? Idolatry. Building your own image. What do they call the thing on social media? Facebook. Your face. You see my face? Maybe you missed me. I'm going to pose this way. This is me putting on my socks. This is me putting on my shoes. This is me combing my hair. All about you. And when you get through it, all of that, you just as dumb and irrelevant as you ever were. Because you can't learn nothing looking at yourself. What's the last book you read? I'm too busy doing my selfie. Well, don't you know what you look like yet? But if they provide instruments of idolatry, then you end up idolizing yourself than regarding what God put you on earth for. If you had all the answers in yourself, you wouldn't be going through problems. Reason why you keep running into stuff is because you have no strength in you to sustain you through external pressure. There's a part I was reading in Acts 17:19. Read it when you get home. Paul went before the Athenians. Now, the Athenians they had a thing where they would sit around and discuss the latest ideas of their time.
Yeah.
A lot of y'all into that. You know, the intellectual just love to just talk about whatever the new fad is. They were the Twitter sphere of that time. Y'all sit around all day just reading social media. Just everything. Like the Athenians. And they said to him, you proclaiming something that's fascinating to us. And rather than go and entertain their earlobes, he said, no, I preach that there is a God. And that Jesus Christ is the way to him. He stood up for the tradition of his faith. I'm telling you, rather than get caught up like the children of Israel, looking for something new, your strength is in holding on to what has brought you safe this far. That's your strength. You did not get here by no accident. You didn't get here because they were trying something new. You got here because that they believed in a God that would elevate them if they were faithful. And now we're going to get to your generation and you want to break the faith and break the chain. And when you break the faith and break the chain, you break the road toward the promised land. Reverend Al, I heard so-and-so about Dr. King. I don't know about that. I know he brought us from the back of the bus to the front of the bus. Dr. King, I heard this, that, and the other about money. I don't know nothing about that. I know we didn't have the right to vote. And they went to Selma and got beat all night long. And we can talk about what you heard later. I'm on my way to vote because of Dr. King. Reverend Sharpton, I hear we're going to have a meeting, and this ain't about Grandma. Well, I thank Grandma. Because Grandma made sure that when we couldn't work in the transit authority in New York, Grandma marched with Adam Clayton Powell and made sure that we could work in the city we lived in. You may not know about grandma, but grandma walked for me when I couldn't walk for myself. I'm like Paul. I'm going to hold up the bloodstained banner. Because the first thing you got to remember is you did not get out of slavery by yourself. The master didn't get up one morning and walk out to the slave quarters and say, y'all can go now. People fought. Abolitionists fought. Had Tubman built an underground railroad. People suffered to get you out. Then they put you in the back of the bus and they wouldn't let you go to the school, and people died to open up them libraries and hotels and public accommodations for you, and then came back and died to give you the right to vote. And here you are, sitting up with voting rights, job rights, housing rights, and got the audacity to degrade and denounce those that open it up for you. You are a lost ingrate in the wilderness, worshiping yourself, building graven images to yourself, and you can't get blessed because you've cursed the blessings that produced you. How can you ask God to bless you when you have turned your back on the blessings God has provided? That's why I love that song in church. There is no secret what God can do. What he done for others, he'll do for you. It ain't never been based on just you. I love that song you sing when I was coming along Bethany Baptist Church. I want Jesus to walk with me. Sometimes y'all may never had trouble, but I've had trouble and I've had to hum that song. I want Jesus to walk with me. Then it would get to where your doubt would kick in and your anxiety would overturn you. And then you'd remind your bio to Jesus, you walked with my mother. Walk with me. You walked with my father. I don't want just any Jesus. I want the one that walked with my mother when we didn't have nothing but food stamps and a welfare check. You walked with my mother. Please walk with me. I don't want no new thing. I don't want no new gimmick you got. I want Jesus to walk with me. And that's why I'm not afraid in the times we live in. That's why Trump can't bully me. I want Jesus, the one that walked with Dr. King, the one that walked with Fannie Lou Hamer, the one that walked with those in the South and those in the North. I want Jesus to walk with me. If he walks with me, you can't stop me, because no weapon formed against me shall prosper. There's power in remembering how you got out of bondage. There's power in remembering he opened up Red Seas. The reason I know I can make it, because I gave up before and he brought me through. There's dry land in the middle of my drowning pool. I can make it. I can make it. I can make it. Everybody sing. Everybody sing. Everybody sing. Sing it like you mean. Sing it like you mean. Sing it like you mean. Everybody sing. time, Lord. One last time. I'm going to open the doors of the movement. There may be someone here today in the auditorium that never joined the National Action Network. You hear us on radio, you came to various things, but you never became a member. If you're here today and want to sign up, I want you to come up to me right now and let us sign you up into being a member of National Action Network. I don't care, you may not have your dues today, just come anyhow and we'll sign you up. Come on, everybody sing. Everybody sing. Let me say this as we get ready to raise our offering. We had new members class a couple of weeks ago, and I'm going to start meeting with all the committees. We're lining up the schedule week after next every Saturday. I'm going to meet in the back with each committee because a lot of folk join committees and some of the people been there, block them. I'm going to unblock them. I'm going to hear what's going on in these committees. I want our new members to be able to work and function. We're building a movement, not a fan club. All right, I need to raise our offering. Moving quickly. I need everybody to give to the best of their ability. That weather done changed up, so we got to turn the heat up in here. That costs money. I see Katrina went and got her crochet sweater out. I thought she was wearing a quilt when I come out here. All right. I want everybody to give to the best of their ability. I need about 10 people, about 10 that can give $100 or more to come quickly. I need about 10 hundreds right now. Minister Winston Gilchrist, $100. Brother Carrie White, $100. Attorney Smelkin, $100. Sister Cynthia, $100. All right, thank you, brother. Come on, need some more honey. Guardians, $100. Come on. 50s, give me, you that can give $50. 50. Brother John, $50. Christine Bentley, $50. Brother Faison, $50. Oh, Brother Mallory. Remind me of Faison. Member said $50. Brother Mallory, I'm sorry, $50. All right. Brother Gerard, $50. 20s, 20s, 20s. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Now everybody, what